Ever had someone to talk down to you and you felt that spark, that urge to defend yourself? Here's the thing. When you react from ego, you hand them power. Real power doesn't react. It observes, it stays centered, while everyone else scrambles for control. The Stoics understood this perfectly. They didn't chase validation, they embodied presence. And today you'll learn 3 simple phrases, rooted in Stoic authority, that makes you impossible to disrespect. Not because you dominate others, but because you master yourself. Now, before we dive in, understand this. These phrases are not magic tricks. They only work if they come from a place of calm confidence, not defensiveness. Most people try to earn respect by being loud, witty, or clever, but the real authority is quiet. It's the kind that makes people pause before they interrupt you. So what this video is really about is the mindset that makes these words powerful. And once you get that, you'll realize commanding respect has nothing to do with control. It's about composure. Let's get into it. Phrase number 1, I understand. At first glance, it looks ordinary, too soft, too polite. But when speaking with calm conviction, it changes everything. Here's why. When tension rises, an argument, a disagreement, a personal attack, people expect resistance. They expect you to fight back, defend, justify. But when you say, I understand, instead you break that pattern. The energy shifts. You take control of the emotional tone, not by overpowering, but by diffusing. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. He wasn't saying you should let people walk all over you. He meant you can choose not to take offense, because offense is a reaction, not a fact. Let's take an example. Someone criticizes your work in front of others. It's unfair, maybe even personal. Most people would jump to defend themselves. You don't. You look at them, steady voice, and say, I understand where you're coming from. Then silence, no over-explaining, no defensive energy. That pause is powerful because you've shown self-control, and self-control always reads as strength. The person realizes they can't provoke you. You didn't submit, you transcended. And people feel that difference. Now, this doesn't mean agree. I understand simply means I've heard you, but I'm not owned by this moment. It's acknowledgement without surrender. It's emotional maturity in action. Try it next time someone projecting their frustration onto you. Instead of reacting, just say calmly, I understand. Then watch what happens. The storm loses energy because you didn't feed it. That's what the Stoics called inner victory. Phrase number 2, let's think about this. This one might be the most underrated power move you can make. We live in a world addicted to reaction, instant opinions, hot fakes, emotional decisions. Everyone wants to respond fast to feel in control. But when you say, let's think about this, you're doing something radical. You're slowing things down. You're signaling that you think before you act, that you don't follow the emotional current, you create space for a reason. Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. What's in your power? Your mind. Your ability to pause, to step back, to question. Imagine this scene. You're in a meeting, things are getting tense. Everyone's talking over each other, frustrated, panicking about a deadline. You step in and say calmly, all right, let's think about this. That sentence instantly shifts the energy. People stop, they breathe. You've just reminded everyone that clarity lives on the other side of panic. You didn't force control, you became the control. That's the thing about authority. It's not about dominance. It's about composure that other people can lean on. Now, the phrase works beyond group settings too. Use it when someone's pressuring you to decide fast. A business deal, a personal choice, even an argument. Let's think about this buys you time, perspective, and calm. And that pause, it's where wisdom lives. Seneca once said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. In other words, most of what stresses us out isn't real, it's reaction. When you slow things down, you separate reality from imagination. And people notice. They start to see you as the voice of reason, the one who doesn't get swept up in the drama. That's respect. Quiet, natural, unforced. Phrase number 3, that's not necessary. Now this is the Stoic boundary line. Calm, final, elegant. That's not necessary is how you end nonsense without aggression. It's how you protect your energy while keeping your dignity intact. Let's say someone keeps apologizing over and over for a small mistake. Most people would say, "It's okay, stop apologizing." But that's emotional back and forth. Instead, you just say, "That's not necessary." You've closed the loop with grace. Or maybe someone's trying to drag you into gossip, drama, or an argument that leads nowhere. Same thing. That's not necessary. You've said no without saying no. See, Stoic boundaries aren't about walls, they're about clarity. You're not rejecting the person, you're rejecting the chaos they're bringing. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This phrase lives that quote. You're choosing where your attention and energy go. And here's the deeper layer. Every time you calmly say, "That's not necessary," you're reminding yourself that you don't owe endless explanations. You don't need to match anyone's tone or mirror their emotion. Your composure is your message. That's how you stay respected without ever raising your voice. Now let's be honest, these phrases alone won't make you powerful. What makes them work is the energy behind them. If you say, "I understand," but your jaw's tight and you're seething inside, it'll show. If you say, "Let's think about this," but your tone is impatient, people will feel the disconnect. The Stoic approach is about embodying the calm first. The words are just an extension of that state. So how do you build that inner stillness? Start small. Pause before responding. Even a 2-second breath changes your entire presence. Reflect daily. The Stoics journal every morning or night, not for poetry, but to examine their reactions. Ask, "Is this within my control?" That one question will save you from reacting to 90% of the noise in life. When your inner world is quiet, your words carry weight. And that's what makes people listen. Not because you're loud, but because you're centered. Let's bring this down to earth. At work, someone challenges you in a meeting, dismissive tone. Instead of biting back, you say, "I understand where you're coming from." Then you calmly explain your reasoning. You've shown that you can stand your ground without losing your cool. In relationships, tension rises, voices get sharp. You take a breath and say, "Let's take a moment." That one pause turns confrontation into reflection. You've just shifted from reaction to the resolution. In daily life, friend pressures you into plans you're not sure about. Instead of caving, you simply say, "I'll think about it." That's a variation of our second phrase, and it protects your boundaries while keeping respect intact. These small moments are where authority is built, not in speeches, but in self-control. Here's the truth. Respect isn't something you demand, it's something you embody. The Stoics didn't chase admiration, they chased mastery over themselves. When you master your reactions, you naturally project authority. People feel it. The calm tone, the steady eyes, the silence that doesn't need to prove anything. So remember these 3 phrases. I understand. Calm acknowledgement. Let's think about this. Rational leadership. That's not necessary. Boundaries with composure. They're not tricks, they're reflections of a trained mind. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." So when life tests your patience, when people test your limits, that's your opportunity to prove your strength. Not by overpowering, but by staying unshaken. Because at the end of the day, the person who can stay calm while everyone else loses their cool is the person no one dares to disrespect. If this helped you see respect differently, drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe to Stoic Wisdom. Every day we explore timeless ideas on strength, clarity, and self-mastery. And remember, the calmest voice in the room is the one with the most power.